I'm Joe Lample. When I created Growing a Greener World, I had one goal: to tell stories of everyday people, innovators, entrepreneurs, forward-thinking leaders who are all, in ways both big and small, dedicated to organic gardening and farming, lightening our footprint, conserving vital resources, protecting natural habitats, making a tangible difference for us all. They're real, they're passionate, they're all around us. They're the game changers who are literally growing a greener world and inspiring the rest of us to do the same. Growing a Greener World, it's more than a movement, it's our mission. In the heart of New York City, there's a public school with a very unusual story. The parents and educators of the Manhattan School for Children wanted to provide their students with an environmental perspective around the concerns of growing up in a big city. And they felt that providing a science-based, hands-on experience around sustainability and conservation would help them make better environmental choices in the future. And they felt the best way to do that was with a science lab that connected their city kids with nature. A pretty tall order. The initiative takes the style of learning to many more students of all demographics. Cecil Robards and Manuela Zamora are the parents who first spearheaded the original greenhouse project here at the Manhattan School.
We wanted to bring environmental science education into the classroom.
And we wanted to try to get the kids to understand and go beyond this garden or farm and really try to understand why we need to be sustainable and green.
They took this idea to the New York Sunworks, a nonprofit known for their innovative environmental science labs.
We visited the Science Barge, which is a first project of New York Sunworks. It was an off-grid urban farm on the Hudson River. So we went together as parents and we saw that that was the perfect environment to bring environmental science into the classroom.
And walking in there and seeing, sustainable urban farming made us think about sustainability and science in general, and it has all these new technologies.
Sunworks helped the school develop a lab that would use urban farming as its main method of teaching.
So we have all hydroponic systems and basically an urban farm working here in the rooftop of the school.
Here within a 1,400 square foot greenhouse, the students use hydroponics, growing food without soil, and aquaponics, growing food in a closed system with fish, as well as other urban agricultural principles to learn all their core subjects.
Manhattan School for Children, where this greenhouse is located, has 700 students K through 8, and the classroom can fit about 30 to 40 kids. And the amazing thing is that means that there's about 150 kids here every single day, either working on a project or just getting exposed to the latest hydroponic technology. That's pretty cool.
My favorite part about the greenhouse is that almost every single activity that we do is hands-on.
We've grown cucumbers and tomatoes and I've tried them and they're really good. They're really fresh and good. I think they're better than store-bought.
But it's not really about the plants or about growing lettuces and tomatoes. This is really about the science behind it. It's about major concepts that connect to what is sustainability. The students come here and learn, yes, to use the systems, but through the lens of urban farming, they are really learning about food production, but also about pollution, contamination, conservation, biodiversity, and of course all connects to climate change, which is the major problem they will have to be fixing in the future.
The greenhouse project here at the Manhattan School was such a huge success that word spread, and soon other public schools were interested in having something similar themselves. Before they knew it, a greenhouse classroom initiative was born with the goal of installing these labs in 100 K through 12 schools citywide.
Okay, we have created a model based on this first lab.
I think the growth of the project was really organic. We were working on putting this together, and other schools started reaching out to us, and each school is so unique and different, and some don't have rooftops, some have extra classrooms that we could use. And so we started this other classroom, which we call a classroom conversion, where we can take some of the systems and put straight into a classroom that's already existing. This is more cost effective. It's much faster. It's not as complete as the greenhouse, so we like both models. So not every school has the option to do a full-scale greenhouse, but a classroom conversion is definitely the next best thing.
Our vision is to create a generation of students that is ready to confront the challenges of the future, the environmental challenges of the future.
To date, they've installed 6 such labs with 11 more in the works. And these year-round urban farm labs are helping to create the next urban environmental stewards of the future. As you can imagine, there is a lot of conversation stimulated from these growing systems, from climate change to energy conservation to everything in between. But the addition of the environment like this adds so much more to the typical classroom environment. From all the math calculations that take place from studying these systems, to engineering like the aquaponics and the hydroponics and how these systems all work, to language arts when you have to write down your observations, and then the art itself when you record on paper what you actually see. Now the students really love that. In fact, they love all of it. But it all comes back to growing food, full circle, from planting the seed all the way to the harvest. Got that clean enough?
I'm going to let you select a system with your partner. It could be the same system.
The person responsible for tying all of this together is Shakira Castronovo, the science teacher here at the Manhattan School.
So when I developed curriculum for all of the grades, for all of the elementary grades, we used the scope and sequence, which are the New York City science standards, and those are based on the New York State science standards.
Shakira headed up the development of all the classroom curriculum for the Greenhouse Project. Her goal was to use the urban farming principles and a hands-on approach to teach all of the core subjects at the school.
So for every grade, there are specific standards to hit. So what I did was, with my colleagues, we separated all of the standards out and we put them into themes. For example, systems and cycles. And every grade across all of the elementary looks at a certain system, they look at certain cycles, and they learn all about the greenhouse, all about the tools that we use, and how that relates to the greenhouse and to the rest of the world. For example, first grade learns about air and weather. It may not be evident right here, right now, but air is everywhere. They learn how you can see air. For example, there are bubbles in all of the systems because we want oxygen in the water because the plants need that and the fish need that. So the first graders go off and they search for air that you can see.
Third graders learn about plant and animal diversity. They focus on the plants in the classroom, learning how they're the same and how they're different. And they do the same thing with the animals in the classroom.
You may not see it, but we actually have a lot of animals in here. We have, in our compost area, we have red wiggler worms. We have the worms because they eat the plant parts that we don't use. A leaf falls on the floor, we put it in the compost bin. The roots that we take off after we harvest, when we make a salad, we put the roots into the compost bin. The worms eat that, they break it down into tiny little pieces, into compost, and then we can put compost on the plants outside of our school.
I like coming up here because, like, you do a lot of things. Like, sometimes we go in our classroom, but we're not, like, with the plants and stuff. When you're in the greenhouse, you just like, with the plants and helping them out.
I love being up here because we learn about science and plants, which I think is really interesting and fun.
The students here at the Manhattan School for Children learn about all the different aspects of growing a healthy plant. But what makes this growing experience unique is that their classroom is a hydroponic greenhouse. So that means plants aren't grown in soil, but rather in water. So as the students learn about different systems, water is a very important element, not only to the plants, but to everyone.
So the students spent the first part of their year researching one system. They learned how to take care of the plants. They learned how to check for insects, put on a predator if they need to. They learned how to do some logging, checking the pH, checking the EC, which is the nutrient level. Now they're using everything that they learned to really focus on the quality of the water and on how the water comes to the plants.
So here in the greenhouse we are growing plants like lettuce, lemon plants, mint, basil. We plant a whole bunch of plants. Once they're done in the aquaponics tank, we put them in this area here to harvest them, which is occupied by lettuce.
My specialty is the vine crops. I love it because you get to work with bugs and dead plants, and you get to do EC and pH. The EC tells you the nutrient level, and the pH tells you how healthy the system is. I work in the aquaponics tank, and the aquaponics tank is just like a fish tank, but on the top there are plants, and the plants put nutrients in the water for the fish, but then in the fish reproduce the water for the plants, and it keeps going on and on and on. It's kind of like a cycle. I like it. I like working in the aquaponics tank because there's so many jobs you can do involving the fish and the plants that it's just really fun.
The traditional hydroponic system is perfect for the kindergartners through the second grade students. But there are other hydroponic systems as well, like this vertical system called the VIG system, right?
Exactly. VIG stands for vertical integrated growing. Now the only difference between the VIG and the NFT that we just looked at is that the VIG takes up less floor space. So I say to the kids, I don't know about you, but I have tons of bright window space, but I couldn't fit that NFT in my living room, but this I could. So the difference with this is that there's a pulley system that brings the gullies down when it's time to harvest. It's an electrical pulley. Now the third graders learn about simple machines in their science anyway, so this makes perfect sense. They get to push the pulley, they get to harvest the plants, put them back in, and really take care of the ones even up top. So when we take care of the plants here, that means picking them up carefully. Okay, now as you can see, because we are a hydroponic system, you can actually see the roots. What better way to learn all about the parts of a plant? So I teach the kids to use the hand that they write with, to clean with. We use old toothbrushes because these are just gonna go to the landfill anyway. This actually was my daughter's. And we clean around here, we clean inside, because that way it gets rid of the algae and any kind of bacteria. We just put a little bit of hydrogen peroxide on the toothbrush, and it's really good for the plant roots and for the water in there. And then the kids learn how to very carefully put this root back in. They learn that if you go like this and let the roots stay out, what's gonna happen? The roots will not get water and they'll die. So they have to really carefully put the roots back in. Now you're gonna see a lot of aphids right there. The white shedded skin that you see are actually not alive. Aphids shed their skin kind of like snakes shed their skin. So the students might look for that first. Right here, this is the shedded skin. Okay. Now if kids see that, they know that there's some live aphids. Live aphids are a little harder to see because they kind of camouflage with the plants. So if the kids see the shedded skin or a live aphid, they can go on over and get a ladybug. And they're allowed to. They don't have to ask permission. They just go get a ladybug and they put it right on.
Bugs. I like it because you get to meet different kind of bugs. And every day. Well, not every day, but it's still fun because there are different kind of bugs like ladybugs, californicus, spider mites, and aphids. Spider mites and aphids eat the plants, so the ladybugs, but the ladybugs eat the aphids and the californicus eat the spider mites. Ladybugs and the californicus are like the heroes of the greenhouse.
The coolest thing I've learned about working in the greenhouse and science would have to be urban farming and how you can farm in such a small community as something as New York City, but still have the effect as if you farm in a place with more land.
We need Aaron.
Well, I find the hydroponic system is really cool because I like to see that all different parts of ecosystems can fit together to make something completely new.
One of the neatest things that I learned was that, like, how you can take something that we've done for thousands and thousands of years and just completely recreate it so we can adapt to, like, our new way of life. I thought that was pretty cool.
Walk the streets of any urban neighborhood and you quickly realize outdoor growing space is at a premium. But thanks to the accessibility today of systems that are designed to grow even edible plants indoors, and the sky's the limit on what you can grow inside, no matter where you live. Now, when it comes to growing vining crops, a lot of us tend to shy away from them just because of all the room they take up. But I'm here to tell you that we can do it even inside. Whether it's the rooftop greenhouse or a classroom conversion like this at the computer school hydro farm, or maybe even your apartment. I mean, look at this. For example, here at the computer school, they've got sugar snap peas that are really tasty and abundant. They've got eggplant that are coming into fruit. Look at those beautiful flowers. And then the tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes. Now, it's not even springtime yet, and they've already harvested over 12 pounds, and I think we even ate a pound of those today, and they are delicious. But the beauty of this is you don't need a lot of room. Here at the school, they've built this support frame mainly because they just need a way to run a horizontal line across the top. Now that's important so that these vertical strings can dangle down to the base of the plant. Now if you're in an apartment, you just look for a rafter or a beam to connect those vertical lines to. But no matter what it's connected to, the line comes down to the base of the plant. Once the plant is about a foot tall, you tie the base to the bottom of the plant, and then as the plant grows up, you connect it in some form. Now in this case, they use these plant ties, and those are readily available through catalog supplies for gardening equipment, or you could use like soft cloth, like a t-shirt or maybe some pantyhose strips. So as the plant gets taller, you just support it along the way with those ties. But that's really the gist of the system. Beyond the basic hydroponics and the supplemental lighting, it's the vertical support that's the most important thing. But next time you think that maybe you don't have room for vertical crops, think again. Currently, 80% of the American population is living within metropolitan areas, and with that comes a wide range of environmental issues, such as pollution, energy consumption, and even where to source fresh produce. And although there are many people working to solve these issues, the youngest generations of today will most likely inherit them and will still be searching for the answers in the years to come. Thanks to programs such as the Greenhouse Project here in New York, young students are learning firsthand not only about problems impacting urban areas, but more importantly, how to solve them. And if you'd like more information about the Greenhouse Project or hydroponics or anything else you saw here today, that information is on our website under the show notes for this episode. And the address is the same as our name. It's growingagreenerworld.com. I'm Joe Lample. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back here next time for more Growing a Greener World. All right, so I love what you're doing here. Give me some growing tips, okay?
One of our tips is the
Nutrients in the water.
Marker.
GGW 401.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. GGW 401. Julian.
Okay, go ahead.